what if maybe even our greatest opportunity of spiritual leadership in the home is just about presence. It's about just saying yes. Yes to our wives, yes to our kids, especially when they're asking for us. The first thing that we need to say is yes. Maybe the second thing that we need to learn how to say really well is sorry. The power of an apology to break down walls that separate us. And so if we want to cultivate presence, unbroken unity, like we have to, sorry has to be part of the equation for sure. When you're not carrying the guilt of you've acted in a way that you don't want to act to the people that you love the most, that changes you. Because at least for me, like Austin, like when my kids say I forgive you, I hear it from them, but I also hear it from God simultaneously. Wow. And that's something I need to hear from Him when I mess up. I need to hear I forgive you. And gosh, there's something about the innocence in my kids' eyes when I'm being somebody that I don't want to be, and I'm being it to their innocence. That's like so convicting. And so then when I respond with I'm sorry, and they're like, Dad, I forgive you. It's like innocence gets restored back to me, you know? It's like my leadership in apology is something that they can follow. And it's like it like brings unity again.
Hey friends, welcome back to the Rising Tide Life podcast. We are so excited to have you here with us, and we've got a great conversation today. Hey, again, my name's Austin Samuelson, and I'm here with my good friend, Matt Carpenter.
It's good to be here.
Matt, are you excited?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I think this topic today is man, it's not only close to my heart, it's rightly timed for the season that we're in. And so, yeah, I'm super excited for it.
So is this a Christmas episode or?
Man, I don't know. Is it a Christmas episode? Yeah. Like Christ is the center of our lives. So every episode is a Christmas episode.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think it's a good one for Christmas.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's right. Well, good. Well, so what are we going to talk about today?
Yeah. So the topic for today is about presence. And it's presence versus presence. And so foundationally, if we talk about gifts and the gifts that God gives us a lot.
Yeah.
But the greatest thing that He ever gave us was Himself.
Yeah.
He gave us His presence, and so that's the principle that we're going to talk about. How do we apply that? Like, what does that mean? How do we live that stuff out? So yeah, I'm super excited for it.
Man, this sounds great. And I just already can think of so many questions I'm ready to ask you. So, well, let's get going. Where do you want to start with this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, definitely the starting point has to be a biblical foundation for it. What's the value of it? What's the meaning of it? And so as we're following after Christ, there's a lot of things we can look to that God gives us. And God gives us His protection. God gives us provision. God gives us purpose. God gives us power and authority. He gives us pleasure. And all of those things are things that come along with, but are not meant to be pursued after. That I don't think we're supposed to chase after provision. I don't think we're supposed to chase after protection. And when we chase after any of those one things, I think we basically we warp a view of God then.
Yeah.
But the one thing that we're supposed to chase after is the greatest thing that God ever offered us, and that was Himself.
Yeah.
When we chase after God's presence, then what follows is His provision, His protection, His pleasure, His power, His purpose. And so, I think that's a great place to start as far as kind of foundationally with God.
Yeah.
Is to see that is the greatest thing that we can have from Him, and that's probably worth diving into a little bit of if that is true. Why do you think we get in the spot where we chase after those other things instead? Why do you think we get other things focused.
Yeah, I think for me, it comes down to this lie that I believe that I have to be in control, or I have to make it happen, or I have to provide,
Yes.
as opposed to what you were just saying is we have a really good Father that he already has all those things. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hill, right?
Yeah.
And so, but we have this, maybe we're looking down as opposed to looking up and not choosing, his presence. And then we forget to believe that we have this good Father that's already got all this for us.
Yeah. Even probably that language of good Father, it just makes me think of, when Jesus says in the Gospels, he basically talks about, and uses a little bit different language in two different the Gospels, but he talks about God being a good Father that gives good gifts to his children.
Yeah.
And he says, like how many of you as earthly fathers or as fallen or faulty fathers know how to give good gifts to your kids? If your son asks you for a fish, are you going to give him a snake? Or if they ask you for a loaf of bread, are you going to give him a stone? Or if he asks you for an egg, are you going to give him a scorpion? There's a little bit different language there in the last one. But and so then it says, so if you as earthly or as fallen or faulty fathers know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more does your Father in heaven know how to give good gifts to you as his son, as his kids? And the greatest of those gifts is definitely himself. It's his presence. And one of the stories I think kind of from raising kids that has always stuck with me. And we're definitely not a big technology family, but I've got 5 boys, and my boys have always kind of been into cars, especially my oldest one. Even still now, Court will come over and it'll be like, hey, did you see the F1 race? He's always been able to, and we can be driving down the road, he can pick out any car and be like, yeah, that's a whatever. Even the most exotic cars, he's like, yeah, that's a Bugatti, blah, 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 and it's got this many horsepower. It's like he's always been into cars, right? So we went through a season where, together, we were playing some Asphalt 8, okay, which is like this game, where you're racing together.
Okay.
And for me, it was, man, I'm trying to be involved in my kids' lives. And not just invite them into what I'm doing, but to try and go be with them what they're doing. And I don't think this is the greatest example of how to do that, but I was trying, I was just like, so I was like, okay, they want to play this game. I'll go play with them. Yeah. And it was over a school break. I think it was maybe even over a holiday. And so I was like, oh, let's do this kind of a special thing that we don't normally do. Let's play this video game together. And so we started playing Asphalt 8, and it was fun. It was communal, and we were having fun competing against each other on the game, and so as the holiday went on, pretty soon it wasn't, Dad, we want to spend time with you, let's do this. It was we want to play Asphalt 8. And we want to use you to get to the Asphalt 8. And I just remember I felt the shift of, man, I'm trying to do this thing to be in it with you guys, but now you're trying to use me to get to the thing. And I just felt cheap. I was and I remember just kind of thinking that, and then just hearing the voice of God say, and Matt, that's how I feel with you sometimes, that when I've got all these things that I want to give to you. Yeah. But really what I want is I just wanted to be with you. Yeah. And I'm trying to find a way to be with you in your life and what you're doing and everything you're doing. In fact, I've sent my son to die just to be able to be with you all the time. And so it's not just God's desire. He's put action behind it. And now you don't want me, you just want what I can give you. Yeah. And so I remember sitting down with the boys and being like, hey, listen, don't use me to get to Asphalt 8, because I'm trying to use Asphalt 8 to get to you. Yeah. And I think that tells so much of what I believe God's heart as a father is to us, is he's trying to use finances or protection or pleasure to get to us, and we can't try to use those things or use him to get those things. And so I think that's something that reminds me of some stuff with my kids. So.
Yeah, that's hilarious, and I'm thinking I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
God, I just need you to do this. Yeah. And God's like, but I want to be with you. I don't. But God,
no,
just give me the thing.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so play that story out. What are some ways in that? Even I don't know if you have some examples, even in that story, of how you helped your kids. Like, were you able to get them course corrected or get them back in?
Yeah, I think one of the principles that I resolved pretty early in my heart, and I think thanks just be to God, because I don't think I heard this from anybody except for him, that I, and I'm not saying I do this flawlessly, but man, like I aim for this absolutely, is that when my kids ask me to do something with them, that I want my default response to be yes. And so one of the biggest things to get this practical, and what we've committed to in this podcast, is we're not going to try and do things theoretically or academically. We're trying to get them practically. In other words, we have to be able to put this into practice. And so, and the practice that will produce spiritual leadership. Okay. So what if the practice that we did as husbands and fathers in spiritual leadership was as simple as just saying yes to presence? And so, like when my boys were little, the ask was, Dad, will you put together this puzzle with me? Or Dad, can I help you build this thing? And I think so often as a young dad, I found myself either I was trying to accomplish something that they were going to slow me down. And so it's like, Dad, can you, or I was preoccupied. And so it was like, Dad, can you put that? No. I'll come back to you. And God is never preoccupied. With us. And so if we're going to try and be spiritual leaders in our homes, we need to fight against this thing of distraction or preoccupation that would cause us to say no to presence. And then also fight against the production mentality that says, I just got to get stuff done, and so I don't have time to include you into what I'm doing. Because what I knew early on, Austin, is, and I like to build stuff, so I just knew, like, if one of my boys was going to help me, it was going to take me twice as long and be half as good. But again, with God, that's also true. And yet still, when God invites us into his work, it's going to take 10 times as long and be, a tenth as good. And yet he still does. Why? Because his value is presence. And so what if maybe even our greatest opportunity of spiritual leadership in the home is just about presence. It's about just saying yes. Yes to our wives, yes to our kids, especially when they're asking for us, okay? And it might be, Dad, will you play Uno? But we've got to start hearing, at least this is what I believe, Austin, we've got to start hearing, Dad, will you play Uno? Will you go fishing with me? Will you shoot hoops? As Dad, will you give me the most valuable thing, which is your attention? And it's not really about Uno. Because Uno doesn't seem valuable to us, right? It's like, man, I've got so many things that are important in my life that Uno's not important. But is presence important? Man, infinitely important. And so, so I think of that as a practic, that is, what if we could just do that? And I think that's something that, like, I've watched you do too, like, and growing in, like, is
definitely
giving presence. And so what does it look like in your life?
Well, I mean, as you're talking, I'm thinking, Jet the other day asked, "Hey, will you come out and shoot hoops with me?" And we go out and we shoot hoops for like 2 minutes, and then I'm like, "Hey, let's practice this, and why don't you practice layups, and let's practice rebounding." And I turn it into what he needs to do to be better at basketball, as opposed to he just wanted to spend time with me.
Yeah.
You know,
Man, that's so easy to get caught up in that, isn't it?
yeah.
Because you want the best for your kids.
You do, yeah.
But sometimes you skip over the best to get to the best.
And I don't know, too, if you struggle with this, Carp, but you feel this responsibility as a man to, especially with sports. I mean, we're not a big sports family, but we love sports. We participate in them. But it's like, well, I need to teach them. I need to teach them, how to play basketball correctly or hit a baseball properly, And so I find myself, and I'd love to hear your advice on this, but I find myself spending time or feeling that responsibility and then going out and then putting the, that activity, elevating that over the presence with the child,
Yeah.
And so, it just, I find myself slipping into that. So how do I stay, keep from falling into that trap?
Yeah, I mean, as you're describing it, like I remember making this mistake with Court, with my oldest son, in road biking. Okay, like that was what I really wanted is I wanted to spend time with him, and so it was like, this is something we can do together. And so like I got him this really cool like Cervelo bike, and he was super excited about it. And then we get out there, and I'm like, oh, I need to take advantage of this opportunity to really challenge him to be, to have determination, to have perseverance, to have strength of mind, strength of body, like all this stuff. Because like that's what I do in myself, I'm like, and so I'm like, I need to be pushing him out here.
Yeah.
And what happened, like the more that I pushed him, the less he wanted to do it with me. And so then I was actually the one that was compromising presence by trying to get to production or performance. And so I think I'd just say I've made that mistake enough to hopefully have learned through it a little bit. That's like, and I would say my boys are I think they've learned a lot of lessons of push themselves, like, perseverance, high achieving. But they didn't learn it through me pushing them. I think they learned it a lot more through just me being present with them.
Okay.
So I think God helped me with my mistakes,
Yeah.
And I do think when we're dads and we want, we have enough vision to say, man, I want my kids to do well. And we could say on a field or on a court, but really I think we picture that as in life, right?
Yeah.
And so, man, if I could teach them this through sport, and there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
But I think if we skip over presence to get to production or performance, then we've missed the highest value and traded it in for a lower value one. And man, that's just a mistake I've probably made too many times. And I think I've apologized for it quite a bit, and just said sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is a danger.
That's one thing I've observed and just really love about you is you apologize to your kids quickly, and you're not afraid to admit, hey, I messed up or I didn't do this right to them. And I think a lot of times we're like, oh, we're the dad, we're the man, they need to get over it if they don't like what it is.
Yeah.
But that's not the way you've approached it. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the grace of God is like what's helped me in that. And I know I haven't done it perfect, but if there is a second word that we need to say in our homes, if the first one is yes, and yes to presence, more than, and this is where I would also say with it, I do think sometimes we feel guilty as men for not giving enough of ourselves, not giving enough presence, and so then we try to make up for it with presence, with gifts, and we probably let's circle back around to that because I think that is it's a danger, it's a pitfall, but if we're at the spot of like, men, what if the first thing that we need to say is yes, maybe the second thing that we need to learn how to say really well is sorry, and man, like there's been too many times that I've been in the middle of trying to correct one of my boys for something they probably legitimately did it wrong, you know, and they're not responding the way that I think that they should. And so then I'm going to just elevate the situation, right? And I'm going to be like, and next thing I know is I find myself, I'm overreacting to something that was probably not that big of a deal. And here's what I do. I'll get in the middle of it and I'll just be like, and I'll realize I'm overreacting. And then sometimes I just want to double down. Like, I'm just like, I know I'm blowing it, but like, if I don't get some more chips on the table, and so like, I'm just like,
let's push all in, right?
Because I'm like, I need to make sure that they know the reason why I'm acting like such an idiot is because they were an idiot.
Right.
And so like, I'm like, let's just get more chips on the table. But man, thanks to the grace of God, like in those moments, I'll hear the voice of God just speak to me and be like, this one's on you. Yeah. And to, I guess, have the humility, whether it be in front of our kids, in front of our wife, with coworkers, with employees, whatever, the power of an apology to break down walls that separate us is remarkable. Yeah. I mean, if we truly want to have genuine, lasting relationships, because what's going to happen is we're going to hurt each other. You know, we do things wrong. Our kids do things wrong. Spouses do things wrong. We do things wrong. Like, and so if we want to cultivate presence, unbroken unity, like we have to. Sorry has to be a part of the equation for sure. And
often,
gosh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. And it has been. I think my kids would say that I've said sorry a lot, and I've had a lot to say sorry for. Now, here's the beauty of it is, and I think this is true almost exclusively with my kids, Austin, is I can't remember a time where I've, in the middle of pushing the chips in, stopped and said, you know what, actually, this one's on me. I'm sorry. And I'm not trying to say that you didn't do anything wrong, but like, I know that I'm overreacting right now. I know I overreacted and I'm sorry. Yeah. Like and to even link it back in with our last podcast, that's not who I want to be. Yeah. Like that guy that you just saw there, that's not the man that I want to be. And it's not the dad that I want to be to you. It's not the husband that I want to be to you, Kiki. And I'm sorry. Like it's not who I want to be. And I want to do it different. Yeah. Almost, I think without fail with my kids, their response has first been, Dad, I forgive you. And there's something about that changes you as a dad. Yeah. When you're not carrying the guilt of you've acted in a way that you don't want to act to the people that you love the most, that changes you. Because at least for me, like Austin, like when my kids say I forgive you, I hear it from them, but I also hear it from God simultaneously. Wow. And that's something I need to hear from Him when I mess up. You know, I need to hear I forgive you. And gosh, there's something about the innocence of my kids' eyes when I'm being somebody that I don't want to be, and I'm being it to their innocence. Yeah. That's like so convicting. And so then when I respond with, I'm sorry, and they're like, Dad, I forgive you. It's like innocence gets restored back to me, you know? And so, and then the next thing that happens, and this is almost without fail with them, is the very next thing they do is they apologize. Yeah. And it's like the very thing I was trying to get them to do. Yeah. By forcing them, you know, like I'm gonna make sure you know how sorry you are, you know. It's like my leadership and apology is something that they can follow. Yeah. And it's like it like brings unity again, and they'll be like, you know what, Dad, like I'm sorry too. I know I didn't do this well. Yeah. And man, gosh, I wish I could skip all that stuff and just get straight to the and God will, I'm getting better.
Yeah,
like
you're hopeful for that.
I'm hopeful for that. I really am, and I'm thankful that I'm not the man I used to be, but I'm not yet the man I want to be.
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of it. I think the apology is.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So can I switch gears a little bit
Yeah,
on us?
yeah,
So
for sure.
We're talking about giving presents to our children and our wives. But I'm curious, what thoughts do you have on receiving God's presence or sitting in His presence, or just you made a comment one time to me. You said, Austin, I don't care about the devotions you're doing. I want you to be devoted throughout the day. You know.
Yeah.
And that was a little tongue in cheek, and you're jabbing at me in a really good way, but that's really stuck with me. And there's a great book, Practicing the Presence by Brother Lawrence, that, just talks about this Brother Lawrence living his life and everything he did. I mean, he literally had this talking, communicating, ongoing conversation with God. And I just wonder, like, the more we can cultivate that, the better that we can cultivate this, present life with our family and our children and those that we're around. I mean, what do you think about that?
I do. I think that's brilliant to tie those two things together. Because definitely the more that we are in God's presence, the more that we can be present with the people that are around us, and not be distracted, not be in production performance mode. And I think if we frame it even theologically, what Hebrews talks about is it basically says that it at least my understanding of Hebrews is it's taking these Old Testament icons, okay, which an icon is a little thing that represents a bigger thing, right? And so just like on your phone, you get like icons. You see the little thing on your screen that when you tap that, it gives you access to a bigger thing. Okay, so there were icons in the Old Testament that were part of the Jewish law, okay, that were things like Sabbath and tabernacle or temple. Tabernacle really is what it was meant to be. Priest. All these things were icons. They were something finite that were meant to represent something infinite, or they were an access point to something that was eternal. And so what Hebrews is doing, the writer of Hebrews, is basically he's pulling these things from the Old Testament law into a New Testament covenant. Okay. And so, and generally, I think the progression would follow a pattern that goes from static to dynamic. Okay. I mean, you could use a different word for it, but I think that's one way to say it. Is every icon is moving from a static thing to more dynamic in its progression from old covenant or old promise to new promise. And God is the same. God doesn't change, but His covenant with us has changed, and therefore then the icons are redeemed anew. Okay, so that's where Jesus would. What Hebrews says, I think this is maybe 10:25 or something like that. It says so the law was a shadow of the realities to come, not the realities themselves. And so we can look back and study the shadows, but the shadow wasn't the thing. The thing is still coming. And so Christ brought the real thing that the shadow represented. Or even what Scripture says is that Jesus didn't come to abolish the law, not to do away with even a dot or tittle of the law, but instead He came to fulfill it, right? So it's not a doing away with. So that's, I think, the general, at least that's what would be my understanding of Hebrews. So in chapter 3, basically, it says that Jesus was a better builder than Moses. And in that, what do we know that Moses built? Well, Moses built the tabernacle, right? And if you go back to Exodus, I think it's like 7 chapters that are specific instructions out of Exodus that are build it this way, with this material, with this craftsman, in this way, and set it up this way. And again, He's establishing a shadow or an icon that was established of tabernacle. And tabernacle was the mobile dwelling place of God, right? So 7 chapters, and then it gives another, you get a little bit of a break, and then 7 chapters of like almost exactly the same words, Like if you read through Exodus, you're just like, I just read this.
Yeah.
But instead of saying God said to Moses, do this, it says Moses then did this. But it repeats the exact same words again. And I think to the point of it's articulating obedience has to be comprehensive and complete. But then the way the Exodus ends off is it says that then when Moses had completed everything according to God's command, then God's glory came and it inhabited, and it descended in the form of a cloud and inhabited the mobile dwelling place. Okay, so what is that saying there? When man did all that man was asked to do, what did God do?
He came and dwelt.
Yeah, and he gave his presence. Okay, so Hebrews is now saying Jesus was a better builder. Well, if Moses built the tabernacle, which was the mobile dwelling place of God, what did Jesus build? He built a better mobile dwelling place. So this is where when we talk about church, and we talk about it on a Sunday in a sanctuary with a stage and sermon, or when we talk about doing devotions, we talk about that 15 to 30 minutes a day in a prayer closet. I believe we are interacting Old Testament. When what the writer of Hebrews is trying to say is that Jesus came and the veil was torn of that tabernacle to where it's not you need to go to this place at this time and do this thing to be in God's presence, but instead in every moment of every day, no matter what you're doing. And to your point, like what Brother Lawrence is like saying is he says he's a monk. Yeah. And he's saying, I discovered this, that I could be as much in God's presence in the kitchen peeling potatoes as it could be in the sanctuary. And this is even if we should change our language, okay? Because what do we usually call the room where we sing together at church?
The worship center.
Yeah. Or we call it a sanctuary.
Yeah.
Okay. It's actually inaccurate. As far as a New Testament belief, we don't go to a sanctuary to worship. We are sanctuaries that come together. You are the mobile dwelling place of God. I am the mobile dwelling place of God. God built tabernacle, and he tabernacled in us. Yeah. And so I think that is the biblical foundation for it. Now the practice of it is, how do I pay attention to God in everything that I do? Which, I mean, I'll throw that back to you. Like, how have you learned to be more attentive to God, to be less distracted? How have you cultivated more presence of God in your life?
I mean, I think it starts with that desire, and having, better heroes in your life, that whether you interact like you and I get to interact together, or, someone you read about like Brother Lawrence, and you're like, oh, wait, that's what Paul's talking about when he's saying pray without ceasing.
Yes.
I thought it was just like, Jesus, please help me to make it through this day on repeat all day long or whatever, or help me, So I think having that, and I think then there are practical ways, but I think, gosh, it's like we talked about where we started this podcast with, we have a good Father that wants to be present with us. And I think if we voice that desire to him, and we remove the distractions or the need to constantly distract ourselves, then I think the whole world of presence with him opens up significantly, Yes. But I think it's got to start with a desire from us, Yeah. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think even if we frame it back in desire, and we've got this great earthly representation of what God intended to be between him and us, which is marriage. Okay. Yeah. And so, what if my marriage looks like I do devotions? What is that? What would that mean? It would mean that, for 15 minutes a day, I spend some time with my wife, and that I don't think about her any of the rest of the day. I don't interact with her again. Yeah. And how good would my marriage be if that's what I did? Yeah.
Or worse yet, memorizing, okay, Kiki likes to eat this. This is her favorite color. This is what
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, and memorize all these things about her,
Right.
but never even like have the food with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely, and I do think that unfortunately represents how we end up interacting with God a lot of times. I'll check in with you, God.
Yep.
Maybe before a meal, I'll pray a prayer. I'll do my devotions. I was talking with a college student. I think he was a senior at the time, and he was like just talking to me about the challenges of time that he was facing. And if I'm honest, most of the conversations I'd have with college students about their time, it was like, yeah, it's actually because you're wasting so much of your time doing whatever else, right?
Yeah.
But this guy was like, I was like, let's look at your schedule, okay? And he showed me a schedule, and I was like, okay, that's like, you actually got a lot of stuff going on. And he's like, Matt, like the problem I'm finding is I don't have enough time to spend with God. And again, looked at it practically, and I was like, okay, yeah, your schedule is full, but that doesn't mean you don't have time to spend with God. But I asked him this question. I was like, Jacob, how much time are you wanting to spend with God in a day? And he's like, well, like I really want to be able to read the Bible, and then I want to be able to meditate on it, and I want to be able to have some time in prayer, and I don't want to be rushed coming in and out, and so like, man, like at least an hour a day, but like, man, it'd be incredible if I could spend 2 hours a day, of which, there's a part of me that's like, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And a college student wants to spend 2 hours a day with the Lord. I'm like, that's awesome. You know, like some people, it's like, do you even want to spend 10 minutes a day with God? So there's a part of it that I was like, okay, that sounds noble. But then I asked him this question. I was like, how much time in the day do you think God wants to spend with you? And he said, well, I guess all of it, 24 hours. And I said, yeah, that's right. And not only is that God's desire, but that's what God made possible. Yeah. And so what if, and I said this to him, but I'd say this to me and you and everybody else, what if we set out to make God's desire possible? Rather than like if I could get 15 minutes or an hour, 2 hours, and it is possible to spend every moment with God. Man, that should be our desire, and that's what is possible. But there's different practices with that.
Yeah. So, I've read about different, you hear about like one of the examples, for instance, is back in villages, like in Europe, you'd have the town clock and it'd go off every hour. And the reason for that was a reminder to stop and pray.
Yeah,
so pause to pray. Okay. You hear about other people that have, their time where they pray at 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. or I'm just, there's different prompts and there's a million different things we can do on our phones or just things like that. But I'm curious, what are some things that you've done in your life, Matt, that really draws you back or, and maybe I'm the only one here, but I can very quickly get sucked into the day and all of a sudden be like, oh man, I've gone this amount of time and I've not been in the presence of God. What advice or what have you found that has really helped you out to just stay in His presence and to do everything with Him?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still it's a journey for me, just like it is for you. Yeah. But I think, one of the things we talked about across the last 3 podcasts is asking the right questions, not just of other people, but of ourselves. And so I think that's part of it, like when you're taking the time throughout the day to ask, what am I grateful for? Then you find yourself more and more at the place where everything you experience, you're responding with gratitude. Yeah. And in gratitude, the root of that is, even the word is grace. And so it's almost impossible to focus on gratitude and not see God. Yeah. And not to be present with God. Learning, God, what do you want me to learn through this? Yeah. But even, I think if we take things like, even like you're talking about a clock, like you're using a clock as a trigger, right? Yeah. And I don't love that word necessarily, but like, what if we use it in a good way? Okay. And what if we utilize things in our life as triggers to God's presence? Okay. So what if I struggle with anxiety? Okay. But now instead of allowing anxiety be the thing that distracts me from God, I allow it to be the trigger.
Yeah.
Because that's even what Paul says. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, with prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, make your request known to God. In other words, use your anxiety as a directing point, as a trigger back to dependence on God.
Yeah.
And every time that you feel anxious, what if you just express gratitude, trust, and then you started meditating, and that's where it goes on from there. It says, so then this is what you'll think about. You'll think about everything that's praiseworthy, everything that's righteous, everything that's holy, and you utilize like triggers, even if it's negative triggers, and even I think there's a practice of fasting. That you don't have to tell your body to be hungry, right? Like it's like you stop eating for maybe. I mean, there's times where I can get caught up in what I'm doing and I'll miss a meal. Okay, and I won't be. I just won't think about being hungry for a meal.
I've never had that.
But
problem.
that doesn't happen for 2 meals or 3 meals. I'm not like, oh, I totally forgot to eat today. And so even the practice of fasting is if we want to learn to practice God's presence, we can just practice fasting. And let hunger, and I think that's part of the purpose of it, is you let physical hunger be the trigger for spiritual hunger. And so that every time you have a hunger pain and you get into your second day of fasting, you don't have to remember to be hungry.
No.
It's like it's constantly in your mind, right? And so if you use that as a trigger, that just kind of off the top of my head, I think that'd be a couple of things that that we can do to practice God's presence more. And I also think it builds on itself, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
The more you're aware of God, the more you're aware of Him.
Yeah, it's like, anything that you do the first time, you sit down and learn to play the piano. I was talking with Finn about this last night. He's been playing the piano for a year and a half now, and it's like he's getting better. But he has this vision where he wants to go. But the first time he sat down and played, it was clunky, it was awkward, it didn't sound good. But thank goodness he hasn't given up. And we see, he has this vision where he wants to go with that. And I think if we approach our relationship with Christ and being in His presence, hearing His voice, being guided by Him on a daily basis, it's going to feel really uncomfortable. And it has for me, like, man, I feel like I'm not doing this right, or I feel like I'm not whatever, often.
Yes.
Until you start learning, and by God's grace, it becomes easier, right?
Yeah.
And I can't even think what it might be, a year from now, or 5 or 20,
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think even, if we take fitness or working out, that we can see how that feeds on itself, right? Like that it's hard to get started, but once you start seeing results, it makes you want to do it more. And the more you want to do it, then the more you do it, and then the more results you see, and then it makes you want to do it more. And I think that represents how it is with the presence of God. The more that you're in God's presence, the more you want to be in God's presence, and you actually develop spiritual hunger. That maybe our spiritual appetites get atrophied. Because we just end up consuming a bunch of non-spiritual food.
Or I also wonder too, and I've had these seasons of life where I just forget that God loves me so much. And being a father now, I get to see it, because I'll see my kids and I just love them.
Yes.
Regardless of what they're doing or how they're behaving, or they're doing nothing for me.
Yes.
But they're my kids and I love them.
Yeah.
And I think we can often get ourselves in a place where we are not sitting in God's love. And if I've had these seasons, and I don't know if you have, where you're like, I know I need to be in God's presence. I know I know I should spend time with God or whatever, but I'm doing it because I'm trying to just do the thing, as opposed to be like, I want to be with the creator of the universe who loves me, and He created me uniquely different than everyone else. and no matter what I do, he loves me. And, you know, I mean,
Yes.
I don't know. I think it has to start there to have the right view of it, right?
Yes.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think that's definitely true. It's just, I was thinking about this morning. I had an early morning discipleship group with some local guys, and I was driving to meet up with these guys, and right after that, I was supposed to I did this leadership training through this company, and honestly, like I just was feeling like overwhelmed by the day of I had that, and then I was going to be doing these podcasts today, and I just was like feeling the weight of, man, God, like I've got nothing without you.
Yeah.
But everything that I want to see accomplished, it needs you.
Yeah.
And I'm not enough. And I was just like, God, I need you. And then God was there. Like he just met me, like, and I was driving down the road.
Incredible.
I was driving with my knees, I was just like, had my hands up to the Lord.
Yeah.
And like God's presence was there with me, because I recognized my need for him. Now there's days I go through and I'm like, actually, bro, I think it's some of my worst times of leadership, even with some of the staff in ministry times, or with my kids or my wife, has been when I'm operating at a place where I think I've got it figured out.
Yeah.
And not operating out of a place of dependence and humility.
Yep.
But out of like, oh no, I got this. Yeah. I've done this before. I figured it out. And then I'm like, God, I don't need you for this one.
Yeah.
And man, it's not that I'm saying I want to have to be in the place of always desperation, but man, desperation helps me a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, yeah.
I'm with you 100% on that. And I don't know what, I don't know how do we live in that? I'm wondering out loud here, but how do we live into that where it's like, we are in this place of dependence, but not desperation,
Yeah. And maybe that's the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Because like I don't ever want to be in the place where I'm not dependent on God, or I believe that I'm better doing things without him.
Yeah.
And that is dependence.
Yeah.
Or at least it's interdependence.
Yeah.
And not that desperation would be bad, but I think that is probably said better. And can we live our lives in interdependence on God? And that's probably a fight for us as men. Because I think we and also society kind of says you need to be independent.
Yep.
And that is a true man is independent, and that's not a biblical man.
No.
In fact, that's the anti-godly man.
Yeah.
As the man of independence. And I think it probably would be best said to say the godly man is the man of interdependence with God and with others.
Yeah.
Do we live our lives interdependent? I think that would probably be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the beautiful life. It's challenging though. I'm not there, but I'm trying.
Yeah, it truly is. I heard a pastor say a little while ago, he was talking about that, so we have all these incredible stories of Jesus working doing all these amazing miracles, right? And walking on water and feeding people and healing people. And he tells his disciples, what does he tell them right before he leaves? He says, hey, I've got to go so that the helper can come.
Yes.
And he's greater than I.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think I've always just glossed over that or been like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yes. Yeah.
But Jesus is offering something greater through the Holy Spirit. And he's saying, I got to go. Like even though I'm here and you can see me and touch me and feel me, like what's coming is going to be even better.
Yeah.
And that's what we have inside of us. And it's like, wow. But we oftentimes don't live like that, or we forget that, and I don't know.
Well, and the offer there that I think I didn't realize what was actually being offered. When it says, "In my Father's house there are many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you." And I go there to prepare a place for you. Like the way that understood that. Even I think I heard it preached a lot this way. That was, oh yeah, Jesus was going to prepare heaven for us, in a post-death sense. But I don't think I understood it until I had a couple of friends that I met in Morocco that I stayed in contact with for years, and so one of these guys' names was Hassan, and Hassan reached out to me at one point, years after like I'd been there, and he was like, hey, can you help me out a little bit? Like I'm in a spot where I'm trying to build a room onto my parents' place, which I'd been to his parents' home in Tarazout, Morocco, and so I had a picture of it, and he was like, hey, can you help me out? I want to build a room for me and my wife. And I was like Hassan, I didn't know you had a girlfriend. I didn't know you're getting married. And he said to me, he's like, no, Matt, that's not how it works for us. He's like, first we have to build the room first, and then we go find the bride.
Wow.
And in that moment, like that passage that came alive to me, it was like, that culture that he was talking about in Morocco is the same one that the Bible is like framing that with.
Yeah.
And so all of that, John 14, 15, 16, 17, is all marriage talk.
Wow.
All of it is. And so when Jesus is saying to them, no, in my Father's house there are many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go there to prepare a place for you. The offer is the intimacy of marriage. Like that's exactly what he's saying.
Wow.
And don't take this as crass. It's just the reality of it. So he says, I've been with you, but I will be in you. Like he's talking about honeymoon. That's like when you go from being with your fiance to being in her. Like, and so even John 17 is saying, so this is eternal life, that you might know me and the Father who sent me. And the word know there, even in the Greek, is the same that you would say that a husband knew his wife. It's like, and so then, in John 15, then you get this, and so then you have to abide. Your abode has to be with me. And so if you abide in me and my words abide in you, and so it's like it's the proposal, of John 14, and then it's the declaration of the vows and the intimacy that is, I've been with you, but I now will be in you through my Holy Spirit, and I will teach you all things, and I'll remind you of all things, and then in John 15 and then make your abode. Let's make a house together.
Wow.
And man, like what an incredible thing, whether it be with our own lives or with our families. What if our dwelling place could be with God?
Yeah.
And what if God was with us and our families in everything that we did? And that's what he offers, right? That's what he offers. That's the greatest offer. No, I'm so glad you brought that up. Like I hope that's speaking to somebody else, because it's like it's speaking to me right now. Like I'm like, I needed to hear that again. So especially coming into this season, because Austin, I want so bad for the holidays to be holy. Yeah, and I want for them to be special. Like I feel this fleeting thing with my kids that's like, bro, it was the day before yesterday when my kids were your kids' ages. I'm telling you, dude, it's like wild. Yeah. And I feel like this fleeting thing of time that is, I want to treasure every moment. And I want, and what I believe and what I'm trying to act on is the only way to actually preserve them is to be present. You can take all the pictures and the videos, but man, you have to, like, the only way to preserve them is to be fully present and to have God be in the middle of that presence. Yeah. And man, if that could be, my highest aspiration is to be present with the Lord and be present with the people that are around me. Yeah. To never miss a moment. And I think with that, we probably have to talk about the thief that steals. Okay. Because if presence is the greatest gift, then the thief is probably distraction. That steals away presence.
Yeah.
And whether we talk about the distraction of screens,
Yeah.
that how many times have we lost value that we could give to our wives
Yep.
because we're distracted by a screen
Yeah.
or by sport or by preoccupation? It's just like we're thinking about work.
Yeah.
And we're not present with the people that we're with. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think that's huge, and I think there's a lot of practical things that we can take out of that. The thing that as you're talking, I feel like what I'm hearing is like, man, it all comes back to what you talked about at the beginning of like, do we trust God for His provision, for the good gifts? Like we're not in this relationship for those things, but if we let go of the desire for those things, then
Yes.
He gives them to us anyways, But when I am clinging on to, okay, I need to provide or I need to get this done or whatever, then I chase after that and sacrifice the presence with my family and so forth, So it's that flip flop there, but the way you've described it makes it sound so simple, you know. But I think that's the challenge for us, and that is, are we going to really trust that the Father's going to provide?
Yes.
And then when we do that, then we can let go of some of these distractions that really plague us as men,
Yes. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think there's some distractions that feel or that we justify as more noble than others. You know, like so when I don't know, like I've just heard it so many times. Like, well, I need to be out. I need to give my kids what I never had. I'm going to be providing for them. But again, it violates God's law to say that the more valuable thing is to give them money or material possessions or a roof over their heads. That's more valuable than being present with them. And I'm obviously I'm not saying like there's not work to be done or purpose in lives or that we don't need to ever exit our homes. I'm not trying to say that. But to trade presence with this noble cause or this distraction of, well, I'm really just trying to be a great provider for my kids or for my wife, that if we're honest with ourselves, we probably have went beyond this is really just about providing, and it's about like, I want to have these things, for myself or accomplishment for myself. And so, but I think if we're honest with ourselves, we'll see that it's about more than that. But then we just have to come back to, God, what do you say is most valuable? And I'm not going to sacrifice the relationship that I have with my wife or my kids or even people around me to chase after. And so that's I think why Jesus is saying, if you seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, then all of these other things, they get added to you. And so it is this wild thing that if you chase after those things, you'll actually never find them. It's like that's wind chasing. Is what Solomon says. But if you chase after God, then all of a sudden those things chase after you. And so what a better life to have provision, to have purpose, to have power chasing you rather than chasing it. And that's the promise. If we chase after God, those things will chase after you.
That's a beautiful thing. I was thinking about, so the Message version of that, the way Eugene Peterson says that, is steep your life in God reality, God initiative, and God provision. And I'm like, there's a lot of depth just in that, like,
soak in it, steep yourself. I love that. That's really good.
And so it's like, okay, what's God reality? What's God initiative? What's God provision?
Yes.
And that really, to me, that makes it so practical whenever I can hear it that way. And be like, okay, there's a lot to that. There.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's make a shift as we close off. Again, just we're at this time of year where We have holy days.
Yep.
That we just came out of Thanksgiving. We're going into Christmas, which is, I think, 3 holy days like linked together here. The first one's supposed to be about gratitude. Mm-hmm. The second one I would say is meant to be about generosity, and the third one is about repentance.
Yeah.
And so we got these 3 holy days that we're in the middle of, and I think we need to take advantage of them. I think we need to win back our holy days. We've lost them, and so with Christmas, what are the things that we can do to not only give presents instead of presents, but even if we are going to give gifts, how do we give better gifts? And we were talking about this right before we kind of started. Like, what's the new thing you're putting into practice with your family?
Yes. I mean, we're so excited about Christmas this year, more than we ever have been in our family. And it all kind of roots out of, I remember very clearly us sitting in a restaurant sometime early January last year, and like, how was Christmas? And I was like, Matt, it was horrible. and that was the reality of it. But what we did last year is we bought our kids more gifts than they ever had. We tried to make it this big special thing. And I think there's this purity in that from Ash and I of like, as parents, we wanted to be generous with them. We don't buy a lot of things throughout the year, birthdays and Christmases. We try to make really special. But what it did in our family was it really kind of taught our kids last year, like, hey, it's all about what can I get, and rip one present open and move on to the next one as quickly as possible. And you suggested, and it was funny, you and I were talking, and Ashton and Kiki were talking, and I didn't know that at the same time, Yeah. And so, but you guys had the same story, so that's good. But
sometimes we do.
Yeah. But the thing both of you guys recommended that we're doing this year, and the boys are already so excited about, is we're still buying, as mom and dad, we're still buying some presents. Yeah. But the focus for them that we've been working with them on, they've been preparing and saving for since October, is buying presents for each other. Yeah. So I've got 4 boys, and so they're all buying presents for each other. And man, it is unbelievably awesome, like watching them. And even on a few Saturdays ago, Ashton took a couple of them to Target to buy some presents. And even as 2 of them were there with Ashton, they were telling Ashton, no, I think Jet would rather have this present, Yeah. And Ashton's like, I don't know about that. She said, and so Finn said, hey, why don't we call Ford, our other? And Ford's like, well, Mom, and he's like the sweetest kid ever. He's like, Mom, I want you to be right, but actually, Finn's right about
Finn's
this.
right.
Yeah. But even seeing them come together and they know each other.
Yeah.
And then seeing them being able to hey, I know you, and I know that you're gonna love this gift. And another quick story is just even watching our youngest is 4, and him walking through Target, and he's like the most determined little dude ever, and he's like, that one. And he's like, and he's just pumped, and he's trying to use code words to describe to me what it is and to talk to me about it.
Yeah.
Totally giving it away,
Yeah, right.
But it's just, Matt, they're so excited. But the shift has taken place, as opposed to us getting, pulling out the phone or we love it now that Amazon sends, these magazines and go circle and pick out all these things you don't know you want. Exactly, yeah. And, we stepped into that even innocently because we're like, oh, kids, this is what we used to do when we were growing up. We want y'all to have the same thing. Yeah. But what does it do? You open this up, and all of a sudden you're faced with all these things you don't have that you didn't know that you needed. Yeah. And so it goes back to the bad question of what do I not have, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so I don't know. We're excited. I know awesome. You guys have done it. You can share a lot of other stories, but we're just so excited, and Christmas already has.
So you already feel like it's changing the culture.
Already feels like it. Yes.
Yeah.
There's this excitement. Even Ashton had this idea that I think is just really, really a beautiful thing, and the kids are really excited about it. But she's wrapping each. So Finn, all the presents that he's giving have a certain ribbon on it,
Okay, yes.
And so that he can see, okay, these are the presents I get to give.
Yes.
And they're just pumped up.
Yeah.
It's just a different feel, a different
Well, it changes your feeling as a parent too,
yes.
right? It changes your experience on the day.
Yeah.
But even to watch your kids want to be generous with one another, and even to show their knowing of one another.
Yeah.
It's so encouraging, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
And I think this is a really simple thing that like we can put into practice in our homes to like reclaim our holy days is instead of at the beginning of December or whatever, beginning of November, like asking our kids over and over again, hey, what do you want? What do you not yet have? Which is that bad question of deprivation. Just start asking them, hey, like, what do you want to give? What are you thinking about giving? What do you think this person would like? And it's powerful when their attention shifts from the tree of death, which is about deprivation, to the tree of life, which is about gratitude and generosity. All of a sudden, like beautiful things start to grow inside of them. And yeah, it's like definitely changed our home, especially around the holy days, you know. And you know, again, we're still on the journey. Like there's still stuff that we're trying to implement more and more. But man, it really has changed the experience for us. And you know, I think the frustrating things for me is like, especially as a young father, was like, man, you don't have much money, and so you're trying to do your best to, you know, like to buy the best gifts you can, and then half the time they want to play with the box or the wrapping paper, you know, when they're little, and then the other thing is it breaks in 2 weeks, you know, and you're just like, and you just feel this thing that's like, man, we wasted so much. We were trying to do something so good, but it was a waste. But when we give the gift of presence, it's never wasted. And then when we cultivate the giving of good gifts to other people, like what's produced inside of our kids is not wasted. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. One last thing I want to kind of hit with this is just if we are giving gifts to people, our kids, our spouse, even coworkers or employees, like I think it still is a great thing to give gifts, but what Jesus says is the Father gives good gifts. And so if your son asks you for a fish, you're not going to give him a snake. But what if your son asks for a steak? Does a good father give a son a snake if he asks for it? No. And so this is where my belief is that the benevolence of God is that benevolence means the goodness of God expressed through giving. Okay? So there's a generosity, but benevolence is the expression of God's goodness. Okay, so God will only give what's good for us. And there are gifts that I believe are malevolent. Okay, in other words, they're the opposite of benevolence, and that you can actually control or direct people around you with gifts, and you can direct them in a good way, that's benevolence, or in a bad way, malevolence. But you can direct them with what you give them. So, for example, if I'm going to give, and we a lot of times will do a brother gift. Say, okay, so it's like, for one, why? Because we want to do something that brings them together. Okay, and so we don't want to give gifts that separate them. So we do a brother gift that will bring them together. So this last year it was a ping pong table, and we did a big brother gift. And so if we say the brother gift was a trampoline or a basketball hoop, which these have been like brother gifts, I'm going to control them or direct them with a basketball hoop to do what? Where are they going to be? They're going to spend hours out in the driveway, which am I happy that they're outside? Yep, because I think that's good for them. Am I happy that they're with each other? Yeah, because I think that's good for them. Am I happy that they're getting some exercise? Yeah, because I think that's good for them. So with one gift, I've directed or controlled my kids to 3 goods, at least. Right. But what if they ask me for a snake? Okay, and you don't have to receive this if you don't want to. But like, what if they ask me for a PS5? Or
I was wondering if that's where
I don't even know what is PS5. Is that the most?
I wouldn't know.
I don't know. I don't even know. Is it? It could be PS7. I don't know. But if they ask for PS5, am I going to give them a PS5? No, because I think that's malevolent. Because if I have a belief, which I do, that that distraction is going to put them in front of a screen and isolate them into this place where they're not interacting with the real world. They're not interacting with people around them. They're more isolated. They're more alone. Then me giving them that is actually an expression of malevolence as a father.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be a malevolent dad.
No.
And so there is something to that too, that is when we give gifts, can we as dads be, and moms too, like as parents, can we be truly benevolent?
Yeah.
Not just generous.
Yeah.
Not just, I want to give them something special. That's generosity or big.
Yeah.
But can I give them something good? And will we think through that in these holidays?
Yeah. Pray through that.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Yeah, ask for vision in that.
Where will this put them?
Yeah.
Who will it put them with? What will they be learning through it? And we can give really good gifts.
Yeah.
Or we can give bad gifts.
Yeah. I've seen, I've got to brag on my wife, but I've seen her do that. She's a great gift giver. But what I've found that her secret is she prays about what gift am I supposed to give, whether it's my mom or her mom or me or the boys or, she just prays and keeps praying and keeps praying. And it's just incredible the way God answers those prayers and provides those good gifts,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great practice. And especially if we combine it together with what we talked about last podcast, it is hope.
Yeah.
That if we put good gifts with great hopes, if we see and we believe in what somebody can become,
Yep.
And then we pray about it, God will show us a way to affirm or like lead people into who God wants them to be through generosity or through benevolence. At least that's the way I believe that God does with us. God doesn't. His favorite thing is not to punish us.
No.
Now He will punish us because He's a good Father.
Yeah.
And what I think it's Hebrews that says that only illegitimate children are not don't receive punishment or discipline. Right. So because we have a good dad, He's going to discipline us.
Yeah.
But He doesn't. His favorite thing is to give us good gifts.
Yeah.
He'll punish us if He has to. But He wants to lead us through generosity or through benevolence.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So, I think for me, I think one of the things we talked about, and just to kind of close this one out, can we imagine our homes where the holy days are about being present with God and present with one another. Mm-hmm. And what if those holy days were the broadcast point for the rest of the year? That we can practice these things right now when we're off from work a little bit. We're more with family. And can we eliminate some of the distractions to be more present with God, more present with each other?
Yeah.
And then can we start practicing giving better gifts?
Yeah.
And what if we could use this season right now, Austin, to reset culture?
Yeah.
And I think we can.
No better time than now.
No, there isn't.
Yeah.
There isn't a better time than now. Both in why put off to tomorrow what can be done today,
Right.
but also we're in the right season too.
Yeah.
And so, man, God help us. And I know that He will.
Yeah.
I know that He will. He wants to.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Let's go live it.
Yeah. We need to sign off.